This is the story of how TCGplayer changed forever after a massive corporate buyout. What started as a platform built for players and collectors has now become a flashpoint for controversy, labor disputes, and frustrated buyers. Today, we're digging into what's really happening with TCGplayer, how eBay's acquiring reshaped the company, and what the future might look like for the hobby's biggest marketplace. For those that don't know, TCGplayer has been one of the largest markets for trading card games since 2008. If you've ever tried to build a deck for any card game, you've probably used it. The platform became famous for its massive selection, competitive pricing, and especially TCGplayer Direct. That convenience made it the default place for a lot of us to shop. But ever since eBay bought TCGplayer for around $300 million, the community has been asking, where are the improvements? And what's really happening behind the scenes with the unions and the recent shutdown in Direct? So let's dig in. In late 2022, eBay acquired TCGplayer for roughly $300 million. The deal closed ahead of schedule, and both companies touted the benefits of the buyout, with TCGplayer's CEO, Chidi Hampson, saying he's looking forward to, quote-unquote, improve the collecting experience with eBay's technology and experience, noting a shared vision, common core values, and a deep commitment to the collectibles community. eBay announced that TCGplayer would continue to operate anonymously, but would hope reap the benefits of eBay's tech and leadership as they aligned operations. The initial reaction from the community was optimistic. People hoped the merger would combine the best two aspects of these companies. For example, sellers anticipated features like eBay's standard envelope, a low-cost tracked shipping method for cards, being implemented on TCGplayer, and buyers dreamed of an improved searching experience on both platforms. Unfortunately, more than 6 months after the acquisition, no noticeable improvements were on either platform. By early 2023, sellers were still frustrated that TCGplayer still didn't offer simple things that eBay did. This lack of integration meant that small orders on TCGplayer remained labor-intensive and risky for sellers. Many sellers were still handwriting addresses on plain white envelopes with no tracking, something eBay's system had solved. eBay's promise to bring its tech advantages to TCGplayer largely went unfulfilled, leaving the community disappointed and wondering what the $300 million deal was really accomplishing for users. While integration stalled, another drama was unfolding internally. TCGplayer's employees were organizing. This wasn't the first time. Back in March of 2020, roughly 100 workers had attempted to form a union, driven by frustrations with rising healthcare costs and stagnant pay. That initial union drive did not result in a lasting union, but it set the stage for future efforts. After eBay's takeover, workers tried again. In January of 2023, employees at TCGplayer's Authentication Center in Syracuse, New York, officially launched a new unionized campaign, making TCGplayer Shop the first group of eBay-owned employees to unionize. This unit included around 270 warehouse staff who authenticated and shipped cards. However, winning the vote was only the beginning. Contract negotiations dragged on for over a year, and the union soon faced significant pushback. According to multiple reports, eBay, as the parent company, engaged in union-busting tactics that led to legal challenges. The Communication Workers of America filed at least 5 unfair labor practices charges accusing TCGplayer's management of illegal interference, including firing a union organizer and attempting to dismantle the union altogether. There were allegations that management spied on pro-union employees and made policy changes to undermine organizing a union, meant no contract had been reached even 600 days plus after the negotiations began. The standoff accumulated in a shock announcement. On May 22, 2025, eBay announced it was shutting down TCGplayer's Syracuse Authentication Center and headquarters, laying off the 220 employees there and relocating the operation to a facility in Kentucky. The news hit the union like a bombshell. It came just days after a scheduled bargaining session was suddenly canceled by eBay, which the union saw as highly suspicious. The union blasted the move as a blatant attempt to quote-unquote evade its bargaining obligations and keep the company union-free. Essentially, the union charged that eBay decided to break the union by closing the entire location, rather than negotiating a contract. From eBay's perspective, the closure was part of consolidating operations and moving to a state with a more central logistics hub. But the optics were hard to ignore. Kentucky's minimum wage is roughly half of that of New York's, meaning labor costs would be much lower. Two of the displaced Syracuse employees it certainly looked like eBay was prioritizing cost-cutting and eliminating the union influence in one stroke. The union quickly filed new charges, accusing eBay of illegally terminating the employment of workers to avoid bargaining. Community and political reaction was swift. The TCGplayer union, now fighting for its existence, called on the gaming community to support them. In late May of 2025, they organized rallies outside the Syracuse facility in a viral message on social media. They urged quote-unquote TCGplayer enthusiasts, don't buy your cardboard from TCGplayer. This boycott gained traction among some players and collectors who were sympathetic to the workers' rights. Even local politicians weighed in. A New York state senator condemned eBay's action as a quote-unquote a retaliatory move that disregarded the workers who made TCGplayer successful. Tensions ran high during the shutdown process. There are reports of confrontations at the Syracuse site as it closed. According to the union, security personnel hired by eBay harassed and even assaulted union members during their final days on the job, and at one point physically grabbing a worker and threatening them while they cleaned out their locker. eBay denied any union-busting intent, but did not specifically address these harassment claims. Amid this charged atmosphere, the union did score a final victory of sorts. They leveraged the public pressure and negotiations to secure a much better severance package for the laid-off employees than what was originally offered. In June of 2025, just weeks after the closure announcement, the union announced that they have reached a closing agreement with eBay/TCGplayer. While it wasn't the collective bargaining agreement they initially sought, it provides significant benefits to help the workers land on their feet. This included 20 weeks of severance pay, 6 months of health insurance, 7 months of mental health benefits, and a lump sum of $1,250. Union representatives expressed gratitude to the community for boycotting and supporting them, crediting that solidarity for bringing eBay back to the table. An eBay spokesperson stated they were pleased to have reached an agreement and believed it provides the necessary support for employees during the transition. In the end, though, the result is bittersweet. The Syracuse staff, who were the heart of TCGplayer's operations and the focus behind unionization, were gone. eBay effectively eliminated the first union in its corporate family by eliminating those jobs. The episode left many in the community questioning eBay's commitment to the hobby's community and to the promise of treating employees with care and respect. It also raised concerns about how TCGplayer would function after losing so many experienced authenticators and service people. One immediate impact of the Syracuse shutdown was on TCGplayer Direct, the very service that made TCGplayer so convenient for buyers. TCGplayer Direct is a program where they can fulfill large orders, picking, packing, and shipping the cards. This means a buyer can, say, order from 10 different stores and receive it all in one package from TCGplayer itself. It's a major selling point of the platform's efficiency, but with the warehouse move from New York to Kentucky, direct operations were thrown into chaos in mid-2025. As the inventory was physically relocated and new systems set up, TCGplayer began pausing direct sales. On June 25th, 2025, TCGplayer sent a notice to sellers that starting today, all Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles will be temporarily unavailable. The company said this halt was needed to ensure we are positioned for long-term success as they finished the transition to the new Kentucky factory, and that with a goal to restore it as quickly as possible. For regular users on the site, this was a huge disruption. Direct effectively went offline for an indefinite period of time. Every order would come from individual sellers, each with their own shipping cost and speed. And sellers enrolled in Direct, like myself, had to sit on the sidelines, losing sales. TCGplayer provided little warning and initially no clear timeline for when Direct would be back, which caused frustration in the community. Some in the community also felt that the TCGplayer quality was also in decline since eBay's takeover. There were complaints of lower quality cards and slower fulfillment. Crucially, sellers pointed out that eBay has the resources to prevent these issues. They could have hired more staff or retained experienced Syracuse employees, perhaps offering relocation, to keep Direct running smoothly. Instead, it appears the transition was understaffed and undercommunicated. The prevailing feeling was that eBay prioritized cost cutting than the experience of the customer, and both the buyer and seller was paying the price in the short term. As of right now, TCGplayer is still not fully up for all product lines, and each passing week without it puts strains on buyers and sellers. Buyers lost the convenience of one-stop shopping, and TCGplayer's reputation took a hit as people vented on social media about the site being down or not working like it used to. For a platform whose appeal was efficiency, this was a serious setback. Combining the union saga and the direct downtime, and you get a community with mixed, often negative feelings about TCGplayer's current state. On one hand, many cards enthusiasts remain loyal to TCGplayer for its selection and prices. It's still the default marketplace for a lot of buyers, the place where you can find almost any card, often at the lowest market price, especially from smaller sellers. Some sellers also still prefer it for moving large volumes of inexpensive cards quickly, without having to create detailed listings. This convenience keeps the platform relevant despite the issues. On the other hand, frustration has been mounting through 2024 and 2025. A number of users were appalled by how TCGplayer under eBay handled the union effort. The fact that 87% of the Syracuse workers were earning below a living wage in the area, and then got laid off after unionizing. That doesn't sit right with many. Some collectors pledged to support the union by boycotting the site or at least avoiding TCGplayer Direct. Threads appeared on Reddit with titles like "Please don't buy from TCGplayer," urging fellow players to skip the platform in protest or to buy from independent sellers. And in the aftermath, a large portion of the customer base remain wary of giving money to a company they perceive as union busting. Despite all this, it's important to note that TCGplayer is not dead. Far from it. People still continue to use it on the daily, and not everyone is boycotting or complaining about the service. The site still offers a wide array of cards. The vibe of the community is mixed, with concerns and criticisms, but there is also hope that TCGplayer can right the ship, with some longtime users expressing sadness rather than anger. TCGplayer was a beloved part of the trading card community, and they want it to succeed. With the Syracuse era over and eBay firmly at the helm, what does the future hold for TCGplayer? As of mid-2025, several things seem likely. Integration of services. Now that the operations are consolidated at an eBay logistics center in Kentucky, eBay may finally start to integrate some of the services into TCGplayer. It's possible we'll see TCGplayer adopt the eBay standard envelope for tracked shipping, or introduce an in-platform label printing system to help sellers with the pain points they've been loudly saying. eBay hasn't announced this, but the transition period might enable such upgrades. TCGplayer has stated its goal to restore Direct as quickly and smoothly as possible. Once the new authentication center in Louisville is fully operational and staffed, Direct should come back online for all major games. The real question is whether it will simply return to the status quo, or if eBay will innovate on the Direct model. Given the complaints, there is an opportunity to make Direct faster and more reliable, perhaps by investing in automation, better inventory management, and clear communication to buyers about delays. eBay certainly has the capital to do so. It's a matter of will. If Direct remains shaky, TCGplayer risks losing customers to alternatives. Speaking of alternatives, eBay itself is a direct competitor. Many card buyers and sellers could shift entirely to eBay if TCGplayer fails. There are also other platforms, like Card Market in Europe, that are popping up. To stay on top, TCGplayer will need to leverage what made it great: community trust, ease of use for cards, and robust catalog search features, and not driving away users with problems. eBay likely acquired TCGplayer to capture the segment of hobbyists who prefer the specialized experience, so they have incentives to keep TCGplayer healthy. But if community opinion remains sour, eBay might face a dwindling user base on TCGplayer, undermining the value of their investment. With a fresh start in a new state, eBay effectively gets to reset the labor situation. However, the story isn't necessarily over. The former Syracuse employees and union have drawn national attention on what happened. If the Kentucky operation grows, those workers might attempt to organize as well. The union vowed that, quote unquote, from Syracuse to Louisville, workers everywhere deserves rights. And as long as we don't stop fighting for it, we will win. eBay will have to decide if it will engage differently with any future organizing efforts or repeat the continuous approach. In any case, the company's reputation in the industry has been impacted. Future hires will surely be aware of the past issues. In summary, TCGplayer's direction is on a trajectory for failure. The platform is still immensely valuable to the trading card community for the service it provides, but recent turmoil has highlighted its vulnerabilities, with many boycotting the company all around. And as we've investigated, the answers involve a perfect storm of corporate change, labor disputes, and operational hiccup. Going forward, if eBay and TCGplayer want to regain the full trust of users, they'll need to address what's wrong head on. Invest in the platform's technology, treat the workers with respect, communicate transparently, and deliver the efficient, affordable card-placed marketplace that fans fell in love with. TCGplayer earned its place as a pillar of the hobby by putting the community first. Its future success may depend remembering that principle. Thank y'all for watching. If you want more content like this, subscribe, and let me know in the comments below what other subjects you want me to cover. And let me know your thoughts on the situation, how you've been impacted, and what you've seen in the community. And I'll see you all next time.